So, hi everyone. I'm here with Marie Bernard, who's the Executive Director of Sunnyvale Community Services, and they are a partner in Santa Clara County. Um, Hi, Marie. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, Zev.
So, Marie, you had mentioned that you've been kind of scrambling to comply with being able to shelter in place and sort of maximizing the sort of social distancing so we can all work together to slow the spread of coronavirus. Um, I know historically a lot of community services tend to be very heavy on face to face interactions and paperwork and things that are done in person. How has this transition been for you?
Well, it's been a day by day and hour by hour reinvention. Yesterday, we set up at our agency, which is one of the 7 emergency assistance agencies in our county. We set it up so that we have a phone outside and a phone inside, and a tent pop up set up right outside our front door so that people can fill out paperwork and keep their distance even outside. Fill out the paperwork, ask questions via the phone, show us their information through the glass, and then what we can do is also with gloves get the paperwork if they have it in hand, or else we give them instructions on how to send it to us by taking a picture, sending an email to us, or mailing it or dropping off. So we're using every way possible not to have those face-to-face meetings, but still give people the chance to interact, to ask questions real time. And it's been very inventive. I'm really proud of the way that so many of the social workers and the case managers and all the staff are being very creative in how to do something that's very much people are in crises when they come here looking for financial assistance, or they're looking for food or some of the other services that many of the agencies have.
That's incredible. So when you say there's a phone outside and a phone inside, what comes up in my mind, of course, is when we were kids and we had those
Yeah.
plastic cups connected with
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
string or something, and we would
Yeah.
put one to one ear and one to the other ear.
Mhm.
Um, so is it just an open line, or do they have to dial something on that
You
outside
dial.
phone?
Our wonderful IT staff, who's a staff of one, has been extremely creative and set it up so that we have 2 phones and just hit one number and talk, and then we can pick it up right there. And it just means that it's like an intercom system, but it happens to be via 2 phones. And we're skirting everything with sanitizer constantly, letting people have gloves outside and inside, and making it so that. But what is wonderful is that there's still that face to face. It just happens to be through a glass door. Before that, we were talking through the mail slot, so
Oh my
which was
goodness!
interesting.
Wow.
So that wasn't working too well. So we set it up in a couple of different ways, and it means that we don't have to open the door up. And it also means that people feel like they're being acknowledged and at least getting a chance to ask a question in real time, which is very important when you've got paperwork and you're asking for assistance and you don't know what you're supposed to bring, what you're supposed to fill out, where you're supposed to fill it out.
So I think that's a really good point, and I really admire how inventive of a solution you came up with. That's incredible. We've seen a spike in inquiries
Mhm.
for season of sharing housing assistance in particular. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about what you've seen there,
Mhm.
and what you anticipate seeing as we get closer and closer to the beginning of the
Mhm.
month when rent is due.
Yes. The shelter in place orders and everything started in the middle of March. And so normally we see a spike in requests for rental assistance and financial assistance in the first and the last weeks of the month, because that's when rents are due. And when people also realize that they're not going to be able to pay for their rent. And so we started seeing a spike in general for people saying, I've been laid off, my hours were cut, I can't go into work, or I can't go to work because my child care is shut down. Lots of reasons, people asking us for assistance. We had a big spike in those general questions And what we've also seen is an increase of people for the first time coming to us. And we're one of the largest agencies in the county, coming to us for first time assistance. So these are folks who have not ever experienced navigating the world of social services and assistance in the community. They don't know where to go, who to talk to. And so the good news is in our community, we're very well connected and have done a lot of outreach. Throughout our county, that was one of your questions too. What are we seeing in Santa Clara County? And we are the fiscal agent for the season of sharing, which means that we see all of the requests that are coming in. And our county approves, our county social services approves more about half of the cases, and we approve the cases and process the cases for the other emergency assistance agencies who are one of our sister agencies. And so we are seeing both types of that requests. One thing that's key is to know that those agencies are open. Are they able to put together a system to accept the applications, to process those applications? And so we know that all 7 of our emergency assistance agencies are open. Social services at the county is open, but some of the smaller agencies may or may not have all their systems in place or the key staff that they have. So for now, what we're doing is making sure that people know the emergency assistance agencies are all open, the county's open, and we are still able to process applications for the season of sharing and other financial assistance that might be needed. We have
Absolutely, yeah.
wonderful array of thankfully we have we have the season of sharing, which is a huge part of our financial aid packages. We also have other packages that are available depending on the city or the county.
Yep. And one of the things I love about our sort of county model, about working through partners that really are very closely tied to the needs on the ground, is that somebody could come in looking for one type of service, looking for housing assistance, and as a community organization, you then are able to link them up with assistance with food or assistance with educational or workforce programs, so that it really is the whole person and the whole family that's cared for. And that's so very important. It's such an integral part of our partnership. So Marie, I was wondering if there was a particular story that you'd like to highlight about somebody that came searching for assistance from Season of Sharing.
Well, we worked with the Season of Sharing a couple of months ago because we had another tragedy in Sunnyvale. There was a fire in November that impacted 19 extremely low-income families, immigrant families. And we reached out to the Season of Sharing and said, we know that Season of Sharing funding is going to be part of the solution. With that, we started working with those families, 19 families who were squeezed into 11 units. So they had a number of issues that they were facing, and they all immediately became homeless in one day. And so because of reaching out to the Season of Sharing, we were able to know that at the end, when we found housing for those families, that we would be able to have move-in costs for them. Many of them had poor credit rating. They were living very tightly, as I had also said, but they were also working families or disabled. Those were the 2 types of incomes that we saw. There were seniors, disabled, and the majority were working families with children, working often 2 jobs at a time. And so it was a blessing to be able to have the Season of Sharing there as we navigated all the housing options for everybody. And I'm very glad to say that last week we housed the 19th family. And they were one of the families where the actual fire happened. So the Season of Sharing funds were a key part for several of those families. Our case managers knew that they were going to have to work hard to find housing, to help connect those individuals to services. We had other funding to help them with motel stays so we could stabilize them. But at the end, for the move-in, it was amazing to be able to use a Season of Sharing for those families. And they are so grateful.
That's amazing. And that's something that I want to convey to all of our donors out there, it's, thanks to our donors fundamentally that we're able to have the resources to be able to do things like that, especially for working families, for disabled people, for seniors, for veterans, for people who might be pregnant, for transitioning and emancipated foster youth aged 18 to 24. Like, these are all vulnerable members of our community, and it's thanks to your help um, that we're able to help them out. In this case, deposits have gone up over the
Yes.
years, and I can imagine that with only 1 in 5 Bay Area households having more than $400 in savings,
Mhm.
that presents a huge barrier. And I'm really, really glad that thanks to our donors, we were able to pay those deposits, and in many cases, I think first month's rent as well. So Marie, as you think about, gosh, I mean, the 34 years of history that our organizations have working together, what makes Season of Sharing different from all of the other organizations you partner with and the other funding sources that jump in during a crisis like this?
Well, first of all, the season of sharing is always there. Many of the other funding sources that we use are ones that are not necessarily there every year, or we have to apply for that. We have to get a contract or a grant. And the season of sharing has been such a steadfast funder, and a funder that is also responsive to the needs in the communities. So the fund has shown some flexibility, especially during the COVID-19 crises, to respond to that, and also has been an incredible fundraising machine. I so admire how the season of sharing, the donors have responded year after year. 34 years is a long time. We've been in business for 50 years. And so that long time partnership shows that there's a lot of trust and a lot of ability to partner. And that really is unique. I view that the Season of Sharing is an organization I can call up and say, I need some advice. I'd like to talk through with you a case that might be something we hadn't imagined before, like that fire, and to be creative and as flexible as possible while remaining true to the mission that the Season of Sharing established a long time ago. You know, the essence is to help people stay housed, to prevent homelessness, and that's at the core of what our agency and a number of the other agencies are doing here in Santa Clara County and throughout all the other counties. Also, you're throughout the Bay and the Bay Area, which is unique because the solutions have to be ones that are in our local larger community. It's not just one city, one county. And when I go to the meetings or talk to Season of Sharing, I always come back with ideas of, wow, I really am impressed with how that county, that organization is solving this problem or addressing this issue. And it's very helpful.
That was fantastic, Marie. I think that you're inspiring, and you're going to inspire other counties and other partners with the innovative solutions that you just came up with
Mhm.
for how to continue to serve the community while keeping everybody safe in this unprecedented time. I also do want to give a shout out to our donors. They're so, we're only able to be steadfast partners to you because they're so steadfast to us. I was moved to the point of tears yesterday because I learned that one of our longtime donors who made a $15 annual contribution to us for many, many years, unfortunately, she passed on. And she left a very generous gift to us in her will, which is mind blowing to me. I'm so moved, and that motivates me even more to continue to work really closely with you and all of our other partners to put those funds to good use. Like you said, creating stability for families in the Bay Area that are facing crises so that they can stand on their feet again.
And because of the Season of Sharing, there is a way for us, a tool for us to solve the problem. And we do it with immense amount of rigor and attention to detail. The fund is extremely well administered, I think, throughout all the counties. I know that from all the meetings and from peers. And but if we were only just to pat somebody, or we can't now do that, but if we were only just to be able to say, gee, we're so sorry, but we don't have any funds to help you, that would be crushing. And the Bay Area is a very expensive place to live. The fund has been so generously supported, and it's needed now more than ever.
To help our neighbors in need, you can donate today. Click here. Thank you so much for your support.